Hi everyone, I'm Jia Liang and welcome to this episode of the podcast. Let me start with a quick question. Do you remember the last time you entered a verification code, used facial recognition to log in, or saw a pop-up asking, do you trust this device? In the digital world, who you are matters more than where you are. In the past, companies relied on firewalls to block external threats, but today, the real risks often come from within: a stolen account, an employee with access, or an old identity that was never deactivated. That's why more and more experts are saying identity is the new firewall. Today, we are diving into IAM, Identity and Access Management. We will explore how it works, why it matters, and how it becoming the backbone of enterprise cybersecurity. Before we get into the case studies, let's quick understand what IAM is. Identity and access management is the technical foundation of this identity firewall we just mentioned. IAM isn't just a background tool. It is a critical infrastructure for managing who has access to what in a digital organization. It doesn't just manage human accounts. It also governs APIs, apps, and even devices. Key foundations of IAM include identifying who the user is, determining what resources they can access, granting and revoking permissions throughout the identity lifecycle, logging actions for security audits. To better understand this, imagine IAM as a hospital access system. Doctors can enter the operating room but not the financial records room. Administrators can view financials but not patients' charts. Everyone is granted precise access only to the spaces they truly needed. Your identity is your digital key, and the permissions define which doors it can open. In the past, the companies focused on defending perimeters, but with remote work and cloud adoption, the perimeters is gone. Identity is now the only consistent control point. As a result, modern IAM integrates AI, behavior analytics, and multi-factor authentication to create a dynamic and continuous trust system. Now let's look at two real-world examples of what happens when internal access is compromised. In 2020, SolarWinds, a major U.S. IT management provider, was breached by a state-sponsored hacking group. About 18,000 customers were affected, including the U.S. Treasury, Department of Energy, Microsoft, and Cisco. The hacker injected malware into a legitimate software update from SolarWinds and distributed it with valid certificates. This was a supply chain attack. Once installed, it gave attackers remote access to network devices. The key issue? SolarWinds' own system had broad privileges but weak IAM controls. Attackers leverage default credentials and loose access policies to more laterally spy on traffic and seize control. The lesson is clear. When IAM fails, traditional firewalls and antivirus solutions are almost powerless. A lack of identity governance exposes your entire command center to attackers. In 2021, Colonial Pipeline, the largest fuel pipeline operator in the US, was hit by a ransomware attack by the DarkSide group. Hackers encrypted servers, deleted backups, and demanded millions in ransom. The company eventually paid about $850,000, but the fallout was much worse. Fuel shortages across the southeastern U.S., long lines at gas stations, and a widespread panic buying. What was the entire point? An expired but still active VPN account with no multi-factor authentication enabled. This shows that even critical infrastructure is vulnerable if identity governance is neglected. IAM isn't optional. It is essential for survival. The attackers didn't use a new weapon. They used a forgotten account. If that identity had been revoked after the employee left, or if MFA had been required, the crisis might have been avoided. IAM isn't just a technical issue, it's a governance challenge too. According to a 2023 Harvard Business Review survey, 65% of board members believe their companies are at serious cyber risk within the year, but fewer than half regularly communicate with their CISOs. Boards tend to focus on phishing test completion rates or whether security software is in place, but rarely ask, is our identity management sound? Or are high-risk permissions minimized? This reveals two key problems. Cybersecurity is still viewed as technical defense rather than organizational resilience. IAM is treated as an IT function, not part of the company's strategy vocabulary. IAM needs to become a board-level concept. Who can assess what is no longer a minor IT detail? It is a matter of survival. We have talked about what IAM is, how it works, real-world cases, and governance gaps. Clearly, identity is the new firewall isn't just a catchy slogan. It is the core logic of security in the digital era. From SolarWinds to Colonial Pipeline, IAM cases don't just crash systems. They break the chain of trust that organizations rely on. To protect our digital assets, we must do more than just strengthen boundaries. We need to check every trust identity. As an organization, you can first implement zero trust architecture, where no user or device is automatically trusted. Second, enforce multi-factor authentication and list privileged access. Third, build an IAM governance model involving both boards and IT teams. As individuals, we can first avoid reusing passwords, use a password manager. Second, enable two-factor authentication. Third, review our account permissions regularly. In today's world, it's not about how strong your firewall is. It is about knowing exactly who's coming and what they are allowed to do. This is Jia Liang's channel. Thank you for tuning in to this episode. See you next time.